It's time for our moment in Black history, our voices, our stories. Like the tiny community of Rosewood, Florida, the Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma, was a thriving, self-contained Black community that was destroyed by the accusations of a white woman who claimed to have been sexually assaulted by a Black man. However, a case study of the incident revealed that the motives of the mob were much more sinister than merely defending a woman's honor. Byron Stevenson, the activist lawyer who founded the Equal Justice Initiative, the basis of the book and the movie Just Mercy, cited the reaction of the white establishment to Black progress was historically unjust. However, history is better understood and valued in retrospect. So with the Bible in one hand and the newspaper in the other, let's examine history. First, from the scriptures, reading excerpts from Genesis chapter 26. Then Abimelech said to Isaac, "Move away from us, you have become too powerful." So Isaac moved away from there and reopened the wells that had been dug in the time of his father Abraham, which the Philistines had stopped up after Abraham died. Isaac's servants dug in the valley and discovered a well of fresh water there. But the herders of Gerar quarreled with those of Isaac and said, "The water is ours." Then they dug another well. But they quarreled over that one also. So he moved from there and dug another well. Hindsight is 2020. Hey DJ, let's look at a story very similar to Isaac through the headlines of our history: the rise and the fall of Black Wall Street.
O.W. Gurley, a wealthy Black landowner, purchased 40 acres of land in Tulsa, Oklahoma, naming it Greenwood after the town in Mississippi. Greenwood was developed on land where Native Americans had been forced to relocate in eastern Oklahoma. Now it had become a haven for sharecroppers fleeing racial oppression in search of a better life after the Civil War.
Like Isaac, they were searching for a fertile place to dig new wells. And this is how Oklahoma became the home to the largest number of Black townships post-Civil War.
Hannibal Johnson, Black Wall Street, from riot to renaissance in Tulsa's historic Greenwood district, states that O.W. Gurley had a vision to create something for Black people, by Black people. He is credited with starting the first business there in 1906, a boarding house for Black residents.
Yes, Greenwood had luxury shops, restaurants, had luxury shops, restaurants, stores, movie theaters, barbershops and salons, library, pool halls, nightclubs, and offices.
Greenwood also had its own school system, post office, bank, hospital, bus, and taxi services.
Less affluent Blacks, janitors, dishwashers, porters, and domestics also made Greenwood their homes. It is said that in Greenwood, every dollar would change hands 19 times before it left the community. This is how Greenwood Avenue became Black Wall Street.
It wasn't long before the affluent Black citizens gained the attention of local white residents. Jealous is the only word to describe those who resented the upscale lifestyle of the people they deemed to be an inferior race. That resentment was intense and needed only a spark to ignite it.
An incident in the elevator of the Drexel building on May 30th, 1921 was just that spark. A Black teenager named Dick Rowland accidentally tripped into its operator, a white 17-year-old named Sarah Page, causing her to scream. A bystander who heard the scream called the police, and the story, which got worse with each retelling, spread rapidly like wildfire.
Due to the local newspaper's racially inflammatory report, whites in the area refused to wait for the investigative process to play out. Both Black and white armed men arrived at the courthouse.
Scuffles broke out, and shots were fired, which sparked 2 days of racial violence. White citizens were deputized without discretion arming them with guns to multiply the police force overnight. Black residents were interned in detention camps, but no whites were arrested.
Then, the Greenwood community was hit by actual bombs, by a dozen or more planes. It was described this way: smoke ascended the sky in thick black volumes, and amid it all, the sidewalks were literally covered in burning turpentine balls. 35 city blocks went up in flames. It was later reported that several hundred people died and 800 were injured.
But the question remains, why would a government drop bombs on its own citizens? The official accounts state that private planes were on a reconnaissance mission to see what happened. However, according to the findings of the task force, the destruction of the Black community was no accident.
The state benefited from the destruction. Just 2 days after the riot, the mayor established the Reconstruction Committee to redesign Greenwood for industrial purposes. Once again, rich whites inflamed the poor whites' resentment of successful land-owning blacks as pawns to obtain more wealth. This is sadly like the political tactics being played out today, isn't it?
The city of Greenwood was a threat because a community of affluent black people had changed the order of things. Greenwood was living proof that we can achieve financial independence if we pool our resources together and support other black enterprises. Let's look at some modern day examples that have changed the order of things.
Tyler Perry took the land of a former Confederate Army base to build a $240 million movie studio that's bringing the revenue of Hollywood to black people and Atlanta.
Oprah Winfrey has given approximately $400 million to empower young women in other educational causes. The LeBron James Foundation established the I Promise School in Akron, Ohio to support youth and their families.
And let's bring it home. Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church supports the school in South Africa and publishes directories from black-owned youth businesses. Excuse me. I ain't done yet. Hold up. And it's forming a black credit union here in Eatonville. You see, these types of endeavors prove that when we support black-owned businesses, the whole entire community benefits.
But in case you think that this is an example, this is nothing new. Let's go back to the Bible. Isaac found that the wells of his father Abraham had been stopped up, filled with dirt by the Philistines. This was an attempt by the enemy to stop the life flow that his father had passed on to him. How did Isaac respond? He built another well.
As people of faith, like Isaac, we must not be deterred by the unjust or the unlawful. We should use 2020 vision to see these attempts for what they truly are: spiritual attacks.
Our weapons are not carnal. We must be encouraged by what God has already accomplished through us, and remember that we are a strong people with a proven record of resiliency.
The trying of our faith has made us all experts at digging new wells. Since we're constantly becoming who and what we are, our story is not finished. With God on our side, like Isaac, we will
dig another well of faith, trust God, and stand up to demand equal justice.
Dig another well of hope, exercise our right to vote.
Dig another well of love and affirmation, support black-owned businesses.
So when it looks like we're losing ground on the political, social, and economic fronts, don't lose your faith and don't lose your hope. Pick up your spade, put on your armor, and dig another well.